Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So I don't know what we're talking about, but we're going to talk. Tell us how
I
you
like to
ended up
talk.
here. Tell us how you ended up with New Life.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I actually found New Life Mission, oh gosh, it must have been around 2010 or 11. I was at church. I was in children's ministry, and we came across a mom with a child who was homeless. So as a ministry in the church, we know that people come to the church for help.
Yep.
So I was just wanting to find out, I just wanted to find out what resources were available in the community for a homeless mom. And so a friend told me about Brevard Rescue Mission, and I went to take a tour, and it was at Casa Carol, their first house. And I stood in the living room, and I was just I just thought it was beautiful. And I feel like God had given me a vision when I was in there, because I just had this like desire in my heart to come back and teach Bible study for women. And I always wanted to go back. So but at the time, I had 3 kids, and it was hard, and I would still keep in touch, and then when the kids got a little bit older, I was working at the chamber, and then I got reacquainted with it because I remember hosting an event that Steve Jaglavas had actually won an award for. I actually did the ribbon cutting for the sewing shop in 2020.
Wow.
And I fell in love with it. Actually, Amy gave me a tour of the shop, and I was like, this is awesome. And I was ready to sign up and volunteer and start, to get involved. And then, I had some doubts. I mean, I feel like God wanted me there, but I was also like, what could I possibly offer single women who are homeless? I have 3 kids. I have a wonderful husband. I'm not homeless, and I'm not a single mom. So what could I possibly offer them? And I think it kind of held me back. And then, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. By the way, have you had your mammogram?
It's kind of personal.
Okay, well, let
But
this
yes.
be the public service announcement.
Get your
Everyone,
mammogram. Yes.
get your babies checked. Get your mammogram. You got to get your mammogram. Anyway, so I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then that was the next 2 years of my life was spent, going through that. And I think chemo really messed me up. It was really hard for me and to bounce back. And so I found myself needing a job. And then I had a friend reach out to me and tell me that New Life Mission was hiring. So I actually applied as a case manager.
I think we all did.
Yeah. But the program director at the time actually talked me out of it in the middle of the interview. She's like, I see you more of I see you more as a development person, just because of where I worked before and the connections that I had in the community. So they kind of convinced me to do something else. So I got involved at the mission, but it's a nonprofit. I really just wanted to be where God wanted me.
Right.
So it was my husband that encouraged me. He said, because I had a couple of different jobs lined up, or job interviews. And so I just felt I just didn't know what the right decision was. So I just prayed, and I said, God, would you just please, he was like, don't make a decision until God shows you in his word where to go. So I was like, yeah, but in my heart, I didn't know if it was possible for God to really show you such specific directions in the Bible. And I had been facilitating women's studies, but even just the thought of him doing that, there was a part of me that didn't believe it. So at the time, I was studying the life of Elijah.
Okay.
And I found myself in 2 Kings, where Elijah was at the brook And so I'm asking God for coordinates. And so as I'm asking him this and he's leading me through the steps of Elijah, I'm like, okay, I'm at the brook, but how does that translate? And so every week I would just go back, and then after the brook, there's the feeding of the birds. And at the time, we weren't really involved in a church anywhere. It's been like about a decade. So
That's
when
hard.
I was asking God, am I at Cherith? Like, am I at that brook?
Mm-hmm.
And he showed me, well, no, that's where you have been. And so he really just kind of made sense of the last decade of my life.
Wow.
Showing me that he was sustaining us in unusual ways.
Wow. Yeah.
Like he did for Elijah, because a Jewish man wouldn't eat from dirty birds.
Yeah.
So I felt myself encouraged by that, and it just kept me going back to his word, just really waiting for him to show me. And then where does Elijah go after he leaves the brook? Do you know?
I don't remember.
2 Kings 16 through 19. Elijah goes to the city gate.
Ooh. City gate.
He goes to the city gate where the widow was with her son on their last meal. And I was just like, I remember where I was sitting, and I was like, I called my husband immediately. I was like, and so that's kind of how I wound up at the mission. I really feel like God really brought me there.
Yeah.
In such a specific way. And so that was in 2022. And I am so blessed to be there. When I actually started on October 31st, 2022. And in November, just a few weeks later, I facilitated a first Bible study in that very same living room that I stood in all those years earlier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing Staci won't tell you, but I will, is that our ladies ask all the time for Staci to lead the Bible studies. But it's because she's conversational. It's not like, I'm going to teach you the word. It's, hey, here's this, let's talk about it. And we love our ladies. They go off tangents, and she will let them go, and they will have the conversation, because it's usually pretty relevant. But yeah, they'll be like, who's teaching Bible study tonight? Is it Miss Staci? I'm like, no, not tonight.
I do love being with the moms.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that was one of the reasons that God brought me to the mission, was just to have that time with these ladies. They're here for just a short time. And we believe that transformation really happens through a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So that is when we get together for Bible study. That is the time that, we have to make the most of, this opportunity that's God gives us to share the gospel with these women who are hurting and many of them have just never received like true love without like strings attached.
Right.
So it's just so important for us to come together and not just read God's word, but to like, what is this like, just to really talk about it in today's language and how it applies to like their specific situations.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they love it so much, is because it's not just someone talking and reading, but it's the living word.
And connection.
Yeah.
So if people were to ask you, what is your role? What's your official role in your life? What is it?
My official title is Director of Development.
Okay. What does that mean?
Good question. Amy Lyon, what does that mean? Where are you? So Director of Development, it's really the job of the development director and the development team, which I have such a great team of people. Shout out to Melody, Kamisha, Jessica, Charlotte, Karam. As a team, it's our job to really fund the program.
Yeah.
So we want to go out into the community, and the way that we do that is we use social media. We go out to events. We host fundraising events, community engagement, donor stewardship, stewarding relationships with our donors, finding new donors, telling the story of the mission, telling the story of the moms, translating that to the community so that we could just inspire the community to action, to be part of breaking generational cycles of poverty. So really the role of the development team is to raise money.
Yeah.
And the way that we do that, which I feel that is the best thing that we do, is to tell the story. Because it's not a hard story to tell.
No.
But
No.
I mean, these women are so beautiful, and to see the transformation that the program team, when you guys, the time that you spend with them, and it's just really amazing to see the transformation that happens. So being able to share that story is a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's not a hard job, because God brought me to the mission. And where he leads you, he will provide everything that you need for that.
Yeah.
So I don't have, like Amy, I didn't graduate with a marketing degree. I didn't come to the mission with a lot of fundraising experience. What I came to the mission with was, for a heart for God and for women and children. And I just make myself available for God to use.
Yeah.
And it's God that provides
Yeah.
for this mission. He always has. And he always provides.
Yeah. I have 2 more questions. Okay. So in the almost 3 years, right, that you worked here?
Yes.
What would you say has been like the most impactful story or situation that you witnessed? Maybe no names. Unless it's a public
Impactful
story. Of one of the moms that really touched you. Or a transformation you saw, or... Is that Jessica?
I honestly can't think of just one. I mean,
Okay.
there are just so many moments. So as part of the development team, we're always bugging you for who do you have lined up that can get in front of a camera
Yeah.
and sit down with me and ask questions. Not because we want to exploit them.
Right.
At all. That's
Right.
not why we do that. And I always say that to
Yeah,
them.
I know.
But because there isn't anything that I can say. So when I get to sit with these women and ask them, like, where were you before you came to this mission? And they tell me. So I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but
Yeah.
every single mom that I have sat with in my 3 years there, when I hear about the challenges that they faced growing up, that they found their addiction because their dad was an addict and she wanted to spend time with her dad, and that is how she became an addict. I mean, that is just such a heartbreaking reality. I
love Staci's heart.
Or a mom that was pregnant in the woods.
Yeah.
Or she's living in her car on the side of 95, and these stories are real. And I'm just so glad that I get to know them just even a little bit.
Yeah.
And get to be part of... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm tired.
You're A-okay. Sorry, didn't mean to make you
I'm
cry.
tired and I'm wet and it's raining. And I love my job.
I know.
And I love to meet with these women and hear their stories and just be just such a small part of their journey to transformation.
But you're not a small part, because we wouldn't exist without our development team. Right? So you get to help bring in the funds that sustain the mission and help the ladies.
Yeah. It's the best job ever. I'm just so blessed to be there. What's your last question?
My last question, how, if people want to get involved or want to donate, how can they do that?
Okay. So you can go to, well, let's talk about this. We have a fundraiser that's coming up on October 23rd.
Yes, we do.
It's at the American Muscle Car Museum. It's called Opening Doors for Women. And this fundraiser, we have big goals. We want to raise $100,000. We want to exceed that. And so tickets can be found on our website, www.newlife-mission.org. Go to events. You'll find all of our events, Opening Doors for Women at the American Muscle Car Museum. Tickets are $125. We have a live auction where we're going to have an experience with Intra. We have a beautiful pendant from Weshi Jewelers.
Wow.
And then we have great silent auction items, Urban Prime experience, Elaine Larson experience. I mean, it's going to be a great night. We actually have music by the creek.
Nice.
If you want to come and see, November 6th is a Thursday from 4 to 6.
What is Come
It's
and
really,
See?
the Come and See is like it's a guided tour of New Life Village. Well, you'll get to hear from our Kids Academy director, our program director.
Me.
It's just the best way to experience like the impact of what we do is to just really walk around the property. Yeah. You know that the village property is 25 acres. It used to be the Hacienda Girls Ranch. Mm-hmm. There's such a rich history on the property. So to walk around and see the transformation is just such a powerful thing.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Getting involved by fundraising, coming to the event, going online, you can become a monthly donor. All of that can be found right on our website. Take a tour.
Bring paper products.
I give good tours.
She does give good tours.
I give very good tours. We cry a lot.
That's true.
Yes. that is what we need. Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome. I think that's all for me for now.